Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about Rabbit R1. So let's dive deep into it. So this puppy has been making a lot of noise in CES, so let's dive deeper into it. So what's the idea? Well, idea is you will use your voice to get your things done. And it should, in principle, work on everything. That's it, done, go home. So basically it's like you talk and your computers do your thing. You do not have to do more than that. Basically, how exactly we envision Jarvis in Iron Man or Cortana in Halo or her, I would say this movie is the closest depiction of what AI could be in short near term. So I would urge you to watch that movie. So basically the idea is a working version of Siri or Alexa. Now it's like, then why aren't Siri or Alexa itself working? Well, reality is Alexa has the issue is like why the heck it was built. Apple built Siri as a okay, we are adding this new tool to differentiate our mobile phones. Alexa is like, so you can buy more things in Amazon? No, of course not. So people did not, like from Alexa's financial point of view, it never made sense. So I'm actually shocked that it's as good as it is. So Alexa always had conflict of interest. Siri at least had something, but here's the deal. With recent development in AI, specifically in large language model, specifically with ChatGPT 3.5, it kind of opened the floodgate. It's like, oh, something big, something whoa can be done. It's one of those things. It's like once one person figures it out, everybody else can, oh, that's how it's supposed to be done. It's like, be it atom boom boom devices or rockets or ICBMs. It's like once you see it, it's only a matter of time it can be cloned. So LLM is the same thing. So recent years, last 2-3 years, LLM has become a very important thing. So what they did, took the large language model, did custom training and figured out user interface. That's the critical aspect. So let's dive deeper into it. So the idea is the same. You're gonna have an AI that you just talk and it sorts itself out. Meaning, oh, you need me to do this, I'm gonna do it. It won't be limited. Oh, I only work in this, I only limit it to that. No, it's like, I got this. So that's the idea. So they have released a new hardware. I have no idea why, but they did. So the hardware is like, it's almost a smartphone, but a mid-range-ish smartphone. They have not specified a lot of details in terms of what exactly they are using. So it's just assume a mid-range smartphone, which has camera, battery, display, mic, and the reason why they have camera that is spinning rather than having two cameras is like, actually I have no idea why. It never makes sense to me, this design, because I always assumed that once we figured out transparent display, when you can have camera behind the display, you're gonna use periscope cameras. Same way we have telescope in modern cameras, you're gonna have the prism, and prism is gonna spin. So you do not have to rotate anything that has electrical, just prism one way, prism another way. But like, why do you have a, it's like weird. But it won't be a vulnerability unless like it's vulnerable to G-shocks, where as in like you drop it and then the motor, tiny motor and tiny gear teeth breaks apart. That's a different thing, but it's weird. I always thought if I really wanted to do something like this, I will just use a prism to rotate the prism rather than the whole electronic assembly. So you have camera, you have battery, you have display, you have microphones, you have a button, you have a scroll wheel. That's it. Now you may be like, okay, the design feels weird. Well, it was designed by a weird company like this company, basically Teenage Engineering, if I'm not mistaken. And their motto is very specific. They are very loud and proud kind of company. They're not going to design average. They're not going to design a blend in. They are like very loud and proud kind of thing. Either you like it or you don't. They're not like, dude, and we are not going to apologize. Like, a very strong punk kind of attitude. That's why it has this sort of weird attitude. So it connects to your phone, and it also connects to the server. Server is the important part, and it has large language model for understanding what you are saying. Now here's the deal. Jarvis as an AI, what Jarvis does is the easy part. How the heck Jarvis understand what Tony Stark is asking, that's the hard part. We humans, like you watch 1970s or 1980s sitcoms and stuff, they're always talking about AI, and they're always assuming getting AI to do thing is the hard part rather than talking to the AI. But it's like, you can see like the early versions of smart home and all that, all of them are correct. Except the part they assumed like, oh, opening the curtain will be the expensive part. It's like, bro, that's the easy. Hard part is talking the AI. Like an LLM solves that issue. It finally understands what you are asking. Oh, you are saying this. This is what you meant. So its example was very awesome. I saw it a few years ago. I hope Siri has improved, but back in the day, this is how Google showed that they were superior. Like people were asking, Google is like, who is the president? Okay, Google gave the answer, Donald Trump. Siri, who is the president? Donald Trump. Awesome. Now you asked, how tall is he? Here's the deal. That's all you asked. How tall is he? But here's the, who is he? If you had context awareness, only then you can remember, hey, the last question was Donald Trump. So let's use that. Siri was like, who is how tall? Like, that's why, you need context awareness. That's why you need large language model. So you can retain previous context. Without context, you cannot talk with an AI. So large language model is there for that. On top of that, if right now you asked a ChatGPT, hey, I want to use my mobile phone banking application to get a statement for this exact month, let's say month of January, month of February, whatever have you, it will give you a very description, detailed description. This is what you have to do. But here's the deal. What's the point of you if I have to ask you, you give me instructions and then I have to redo it? So what they figured it out, what if you have large action model? It takes action in it. So it takes the detail that is coming out of large action model, as in like do this, and it does it. So large action model is the one that is responsible for getting things done that you asked. You asked is like, hey, use Google Keep and create a new note and store this data. It will, the LLM will understand what I'm asking, and LAM will physically do it, as in like open the application, write the data and save the data. So that's why there are two layers to it. So hardware is unnecessary, 100% unnecessary. That's why I said like it's weird, especially that rotating camera. It's super weird, but it is what it is. So that's the hardware side of things for some reason. Now, this is the interesting part, large action model. Now, the core advantage of any company is that if they know what they are doing, if you want to open a company that does everything, outcome would be nothing, zero, nothing will be done. So here they have the advantage that they know what specifically they are doing. They understand that all they have to be good at is not programming, is not coding or not writing novels and all that. It's like just to be good enough to interact with user interface. So they trained their action model on large interface data, meaning how the heck you open an application. Right now, any AI integration is running on API, meaning there is a code base that talks with your code base and they get married. So user interface is not used. The problem is that as long as the developer implements a good API, it's golden. But what if they don't? Or what if they're like, we're gonna charge you for it? It's like, bruh, what the hell? So here they're like, hey, what is the free part of it? Free part is the user interface. Use it that way. So we are talking about AI. Why can't AI use the same thing that was built for us? So they trained the AI to, it's like, oh, look at this. This icon generally represents back button. This icon generally represents share button. This icon generally represents this. It trained based on all the application. And to be realistic, they only would have needed to train it on top 100 application on all both sites. And once you have that data, everything else will try to clone that attitude of UI. So you do not have to worry about it. So that's what they figured it out. It's like, let's train the AI to use user interface rather than a backdoor or a API. So API level access is no longer needed from app side developer. That is the biggest advantage they have. That's why they can say that it will work with everything. That's why they can say, hey, you can actually open Discord and do something what I'm asking. While others will simply have hard time. It's like, what? No, it will say go to Discord and open. It's like, dude, I'm asking you. It can sort it out. And they are claiming, let this be clear, what they are showing so far can be done. It's clever, can be done. But what they are showing that is really whoa is it can even learn new apps, so it's not limited, meaning you can train it. That's why I specified like banking applications, they are horrible. So for some reason they have their like I want to download a bank statement per month. I do it per month, so I have a very good grasp on my finances. Here's the deal. It does not have a button where I can download last month, like, last month was December, last month before that's like, months. It has 30 days, 90 days, 365 days and custom date. It's like, just have a rolling month there, but they don't have it. But what if I had this sort of AI in between me and the bank application? Now I can say, hey, can you give me the bank statement for December? It will understand, large language model will understand I'm asking December. So it will figure out December of 2024 has not happened yet, December of 2023 applies. So what can it will go into custom date, sort it out, and that will be the coming from large language model. Large action model will be the one that is going in the application, opening the application, going into download menu, account statement and custom date. Then it will slide the date sliders where it matches to 1 December to 31st December, and voila. So that's the critical aspect. You no longer need the back door. You no longer need the API integration. You're like, you have an application, can it do it? We got this. And you can even train it. And they did show a demo of it. So if it works as good as they are showing it, they have something really important with their hands. Like they're good. Like this is very good. So basically, large language model is the bridge between your basically you and the action that you need to take, and large action model will sort everything out. You can teach it to do things, complex things included, meaning you can actually say, hey, let's say my bank is idiot and it gives PDF format for some reason. I can teach it, hey, take the PDF format, this is the password for my system, unlock the PDF, save it as a new PDF, send it to a AI cruncher, there is a nanobot or something like that break it into like actual CSV output. Now dump the CSV output into Google Sheets so I can properly sort it out. Yes, my bank is an idiot. But these are complex applications. No AI can do it. Google, ChatGPT can tell you how to do it, but it can't do it. Large action model, I got you back in principle. So there are custom, and whatever they have built as a like full pipeline, holy damn, it's fast. Now I have paid for ChatGPT and I have used it to develop my first application, that is my open source project, and I was shocked, horrified how good AI has become, because I do not know programming, I do not know what it is, but I built the application. It was done, and I showed it to other programmers and they're like, okay, now we can refine it. I'm like, I went from nothing to having a working application that I sent to other programmers to refine, and I paid so little for it. So, and what they have is the same thing, only much, much faster. Holy damn, it was fast. Like, unless it was faked, damn, it was fast. It was fast. And here's the interesting part, like in ChatGPT instant itself, right now I use ChatGPT to, let's say, write a sketch for this sort of contraption, and it did write it, but here's still the sketch started to become long, so it was giving only small blocks of it, and I had to keep asking it, it's like, can you please give the whole thing? I do not know programming, I cannot understand, or replace this line and all that, and I messed up a semicolon. But if it had large action model, it can actually take the data from ChatGPT, large language model, and put it in clipboard, put it into other clip, basically put it in text file, now specifically place it where it needs to go, and then it's like save the file, render the file, done. Action model, going from application to application to application, that is whoa. So if they have really sorted out this teach mode, which to be fair, they are saying that it is experimental, but if they can actually do it, damn. I just do not like the camera application. I'm like, dude, you just use a flipping prism. You will also have the full benefit of a telescopic lens. But this is what they have. Like, they figured it out that do not go behind the back door, just use the goddamn user interface itself. So there is a bit of paradox here. The paradox is that price does not make sense. Like, it's no. The price is nope. Price is in the nope category, flat out. $200 is way too low for that hardware. At best case scenario, I can see they are not losing money on that hardware. That's the best case scenario. So it's like hardware is low, and I kind of understand that's why they have only one camera. I think for some reason quality camera sensors are expensive, optics are expensive, so they may have been like, hey, having two high quality cameras and lenses would be too expensive, might as well put one high expensive and just put a cheaper motor to spin it. So that's there. So it does not make sense. That $200 does not make sense. And no subscription, no sir, because here's the deal. You need server. The hardware is not the crunching part. It's not the neural processing unit. It still needs to send the data to a server. So that defeats its purpose. Why the heck that hardware exists? So fundamentally, if they're saying at $200 forever, yeah, no, that's just like, no, sir, that's not gonna work. Specifically, if you need it to AI for it to work, it's not gonna work. Of course, it can downscale as a dumb phone where you can use it as a media player, but not as a like, oh, asking it to do things and it's like, doing it. Yeah, that's not happening. So $200 is like a flat out no, that's not happening. And here's the tragic part of it. The true paradox is like, whatever they are claiming, it should be doable in an app as a phone. Like, you already have a phone. It's just an application. Same way ChatGPT can be an app. Why don't you have another app that, of course, it would require extra layer of application design and all that. But once you do that, people did it. People use the Rapid AI itself as an app for Apple, where it's like you can talk to it and you can do, of course, it will require more development where it can truly access all the touchscreen points of the data. So because it's gonna pretend that there is a user touching those things, it can be done. It's not impossible. It can be done. So what they are trying to do actually can be done with a mobile phone. Like, it's just an application. And again, you may be like, what if companies are blocking it? But again, that also creates an issue for them. That means Samsung can make an AI for their Samsung phone. Google can do it for Google phones. Apple can do it for Apple phones. What the hell they gonna do? They're like, buy our extra device for all other phones? So that's why I say everything that they are doing in principle can be done with an app. You do not need extra hardware. Hardware part is really useless. Their core selling point is large action model and its marriage to large language model. But both of those things are on server. So why the heck you need a hardware on your end? So LAM would be cloned very quickly. I can guarantee you. The moment this device actually reaches on people's hand and people use it and it actually works, literally 5 minutes later, there will be project team opening up in every company and like, Microsoft, go, I need large, action model yesterday. Google will be like, I need large action model yesterday. Every company will be like, working their ass off. It will be cloned and it will be replicated very soon, because what this was the odd part, is like they should not have talked how the heck it works. They should have just like, hey, it does it. They actually went inside and showed us, like, why are you showing it? Unless it could be something magical, it would be like really, really ludicrously difficult to actually train, which I do not think so, but let's see. So large language model would be cloned and replicated soon, and it looks like a loss leading product. Now let this be very clear: there are lot of companies, successful company, that have started out with loss leading product. For example, Sony PlayStation 3 was super duper hyper expensive to make in early generations. Yes, a console can be in market for 10 years, so but they will revise it every few years. So Gen 1 would be really expensive, Gen 2 would be optimized, Gen 3 would be the final part. So the Gen 1 PS3 was too expensive, but company knew for a fact that if they launched it at the cost, nobody's gonna buy it. So they sold it at a loss. Now here's the deal. Why didn't Sony went bankrupt? Well, they did sold the hardware at a loss. They took, let's say, $200, I think, if I'm not mistaken, $200 of loss. Everybody who bought the console bought some games with it. And if the consoles were good, bought a lot of games with it. Each game sold gave them a bit of royalty. Brick by brick, day by day, over time, they started to recoup their investment. Companies do that. And there is a cruel version of this, where companies will come into like Uber or Ola and things of that nature. They will come into your country and they're like, okay, we're going to kill all your local options because we're going to give loss leading options. That's why there is a law in European Union for airlines. You cannot open an airlines where you are like selling a product at loss. That means you're going to kill small competitors. So they're gonna basically, Ola and Uber, they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna destroy all your local industries. Once that's gone, then we're gonna increase the price because you have no other option. We can charge whatever you want and all the loss they will recover. So loss leading product is not a new thing. Some companies have used it optimally. Some companies have went cruel mode on it. Many do it and many pull it off. Let that be very clear. We have many companies that have pulled it off. Heck, this is from 2020. I do not know what is the latest variant of it. There are so many companies that are such deep losses, like Reliance Communication, minus 38,000 crore. Even with dollar, let's say, that is like a lot of zeros, even with dollar. So bonkers amount of losses. Heck, Idea and Vodafone, 67,000 crore. Whew, that's way too many zeros. So there are many companies. Air India, minus 8,000 crore. Serious amount. Like a lot of company go through this sort of rough period. But here's the thing. Not every company comes out of it. Some to go into, never comes out. For example, we worked $30 billion evaluation. Oh my God, this is bullshit. And they died. So it's one of those things. It's like, just because you can launch a loss leading product does not mean you can actually make it a profitable thing. Ask Elon Musk with Twitter. And again, look into his portfolio. SoftBank, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, many of them did do, but not all of them. So this idea of starting out with a loss leading product, and again, they were very open about this. Like, we looked at the price of AI pin and it was like $700. I'm like, it's like, that means they were trying to not be a loss leading. You are directly trying to be loss leading. So that means they are way too optimistic, which does not make sense, especially when you do not have a monthly option, and especially when other companies can just make an app that works better. So better as in like better integration wise, and you do not have to buy a device. Like, I'm paying for ChatGPT. What if somebody comes, like Samsung asks, like, hey, you have a Samsung phone, we developed this, take it and go. Apple comes and, hey, you use Apple phone, take it and go. So there is a very serious paradox in terms of finance, in terms of long term. So what can we expect in the future? Well, here's the deal. I have to give them credit. They really solved a very unique problem. It's like ChatGPT can talk, but it can't do things. And I cannot tell you how frustrating it was. It's like, I kept asking ChatGPT, can you please give me, it was 500 lines of code. It's just, can you just write that and it takes so long to write that 500 lines. It's not even a complex thing, but it was like, but imagine if it had the ability to, okay, I get it. There is another bridge application that is like, dumping the data into clipboard data goes into the, IED, and they're like line matching it to replace it. awesome, problem would be solved. So they are very good at that. I'm going to give full props to that. And actually figured out why it's not working. That's like, whoa, whoa. That's awesome. Again, I'm like genuinely sure Jeff Bezos would be angry at Alexa team. None of you could figure it out. So that's there. And the biggest oops is that once the genie is out of the bottle, once you actually explained to the people how the heck it's done, what's the unique part of it, others can replicate it. It's like we could not keep a nuclear boom boom in a pocket, so to say. Trust me, these things will be replicated very quickly. Now, quality of those replication, that will be open to interpretation. Let's just be frank about that. It's going to take some time, and some companies would be horrible, some company would be okay, some would be like, oh, whoa, whoa, this is how it should be. So it will be replicated, it will be slow, but not impossible. Let that be very clear. I do not see anything that's like, oh, this cannot happen because it breaks the laws of physics. No, it's like, it's going to take time, but it's going to happen. So price is too low for tangible profit. Let that be very clear. That part, like price is, opening a red alert in my brain. That's like, no, especially with no system. So no subscription model, I do expect them to drop. If the company runs for long enough, they have to drop the system, because be mindful, everyone who has the old device, they did pay you. Let's say you somehow made that device in hyper cheap prices, and everything is fine and dandy. But here's the deal. Every new device you sell, you get a little bit of profit. But here's it does not mean the old device is no longer working, unless you have some magical boom device where it's like original iPod, where the battery would go boom in around 18 months. The moment warranty is over, the battery will go poof, and you have to replace it. So unless they have something like that, I do not see this to be long-term cost. Again, starting, getting a user base, all that jazz, awesome. But do not see a long-term, especially given the fact that there are other brands that can do what you did, and they have bigger user base to start with, and they can directly go with, hey, we have a paid option. So my analysis is that this is going to be hip for 2 to 3 years, and then they have a very serious risk of fading away, or some major corporation buying them out. So let's see what happens in the future. So this was my presentation on basically Rabbit AI. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.